Playing for Keeps is apparently an inspirational story about a out of luck football player who's retired and can't get a job and has a kid with his ex-wife who is about to get remarried, and it's essentially a story about how he turns his life around, but he doesn't really. And he pretty much stays the exact same guy the entire movie, and nothing really changes, and yet somehow people forgive him. It makes no sense, and you probably shouldn't watch it. But here's a review for Playing for Keeps. Essentially, it follows Gerard Butler, who plays a character called George, and he's on the precipice of turning his life around, and he's just gotten this job offer to become a sportscaster, and he's worried that if he moves away from his son again, he's going to lose him for good. And I think there's actually some decent tension and storyline there, but it's never really picked up on in favour of just watching Gerard Butler play football, which to some might be interesting, but when it comes to someone who wants to watch a film, it doesn't really work because nothing's happening. Um, and one of the main problems with Playing for Keeps is the fact that it wastes time on these side stories that aren't interesting, aren't entertaining, they're supposed to be funny, and they're not even that. I mean, there's a side story with a disgruntled married couple played by Randy Quaid, no, Dennis Quaid and Uma Thurman, and Dennis Quaid plays this completely unlikable businessman who pays George off when he starts coaching his son's football team, um, because he wants his kids to be front and centre. He just wants to show off. And he's a thoroughly repugnant character who's just put in there for laughs, and he's not even funny. And you just feel a bit sorry for Dennis Quaid because he can do better. And Uma Thurman pops up as his wife, who knows he's sleeping around and all this rubbish, and nothing really happens, and then all of a sudden she's hitting on George and doing stuff that a normal person wouldn't do. And that's one of the key problems of the film, is the fact that all the female characters, apart from George's ex-wife Stacy, played by Jessica Biel, all the women in this film act like complete imbeciles, and they just do these unnatural things to this man who, in a heartbeat, any of them would look at and say, that man is horrible. I would not want to be associated with that person. And yet, the whole film's premise is about him taking over his son's football team and coaching them up and making them, feel really inspirational about what they're doing. And it just doesn't work. And it's just not very good. And in the end, it tries to provide this sort of catharsis where he finally realizes what's important in his life, and it uses that cliched shot of the car turning round as he goes back. And I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for anyone, because you really shouldn't be watching it, but it's just so bad. And I think it's not as bad as Die Hard 5, but it's so close. And I use Die Hard 5 as my example for probably the worst film ever made, because I went to go see it in February and it was just awful. I mean, there is no film that I have laughed so hard at for the wrong reasons. So, and I did that in this film, but to a lesser extent. So if I was going to give it a score, it would probably be 1, maybe 2 out of 10, and it's just not worth watching. So I advise you to honestly not go and see it.